All right. So once again, the presentation and the analysis that I had chance to read was very courageous. It was very open, very ambitious, and I have to say that it was it was a pleasant reading for me to see this coming from Germany. Also, it is clear that in the Czech Republic, in the Czech political and administrative context, the shift in German position that was just illustrated will be welcomed very much. Will be welcome, and everyone will appreciate it. So when I was working on my presentation, I was mostly thinking about how to translate this proposition, this ambitious proposition, into the Czech context, and to think about how to proceed in practical steps, because the paper, I think, was a big political opening of a debate, a statement of a goal for a future, and I was thinking how the Czech Republic might react and how it might translate it into more practical, not more, but into achievable from the Czech point of view step. I would begin with the fact that, as the paper and as the presentation showed, the problems are mainly on the national level. The main problems with furthering European defense, common European defense, is not lying at the European level. It is lying at the national level. For example, the paper states that there are 28 national armies with a total of around 1.5 million service personnel, and this is too expensive. But then we have to counter that with another number, and that is fact that only 4% of these of the personnel were actually in a combat situation. Only 4%, which makes the utility of the service personnel very limited. The same goes for the overall deployability of the European soldiers. According to the EDA estimates, the deployability and sustainability of ground forces is now at roughly 100,000 soldiers, and we know that in order to fulfill our expectations, we would need somewhere 180,000 soldiers to be deployable. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not that it's expensive; it's that it's not effective in a way of putting the numbers together so that it could work. If I'm not sure if I'm explaining myself correctly, but it's not a problem with too much of personnel, but the problem is with their deployability, and that's a problem at the national level. Also in the Czech Republic, when it comes to pooling and sharing, when I speak to different political and administrative actors, what they're afraid is that everyone would like to share, but no one would like to pool. And this is something that it's a national problem. Unless we will be able to throw in the capabilities, then there is no real sharing. There is also no national political will to actually deploy soldiers under the battle group heading. So it's not just about compatibility, which can be solved technically. It's about the political will to be able to deploy the soldiers. There is no national will to really strengthen the national defense budget, or to restructure the defense budget from sustainability to some kind of a progress. Last but not least, we are drastically lacking behind in terms of research and development. The research and development is 6 times smaller than it is in the United States, and this is already creating huge problems. I could go on and on. It doesn't make any sense. But what I'm trying to say is that there is a shared feeling in the Czech Republic that there is not so much of a problem in lack of institutions at the European level, but that there is a lack of capacities on the national level, and also that by creating new European institutions, we would increase the expectations from the European Union, and these expectations are seldom fulfilled. As one person said at one conference, but I unfortunately don't remember who, there is a growing concern that there is a growing continuity in obligations, but there is a lowering continuity in terms of capabilities and also in threat perceptions. So now this was the pessimistic kind of a scenario, a pessimistic beginning. Now what should be done? First of all, we should acknowledge that what the European Union is lacking is the common strategic capacities, and this is something that cannot be built on a national level. What I mean strategic capacities, this audience of course know it, but just let me recapitulate. It is the incompatible and not really effective means of communication. It is insufficient logistics. It is limited capacities of the satellite reconnaissance. It is monitoring. It is a limited capacity of soldier survivals. It is the unmanned air surveillance, intelligence, and so on and so on. Of course, transport capacities. All of these are strategic capacities that cannot be built at national level. These have to be built on European level. And if I would suggest where to start for the Europeanization of the European defense, it would be by building the strategic capacities. But the problem is who will pay for it, of course. So, and there we are back to the original question. Will there be some kind of a common defense budget? I don't know, but maybe by opening the debate the way Mr. Bartels did, this might be an opening towards that. Of course, there is the issue of compatibility with NATO. Once we have this kind of an ambitious strategic approach, whether the compatibility with NATO will not be at risk. Now, what would I expect from the Czech Republic now, as we speak? I would expect a very cautious approach, as I already suggested. There is a instinctive feeling in the Czech Republic, and it's kind of shared among all the actors, that until we are able to fulfill our obligations to the NATO, which is the only real security guarantee, we should focus on this dimension and work with what we already have, and let's say to enhance what we already have agreed upon at the European level. On the other hand, it is very important to say that the Czech Republic will very carefully follow what Germany does, as it does for the past 10 years, and it will definitely follow Germany in 99% of directions Germany takes. So this is the Czech approach. Follow Germany and Poland. The question is which one first? I think Germany first. Now,
maybe you have to talk with Poland.
No, I don't think so. It was Poland who proposed the creation of the common headquarters before their EU presidency. I think that the Czech Republic will now focus on evaluating what has been achieved from the summit in December 2013. It will try to evaluate what has been achieved now in 2015. And if I look at that from this position, I think that the Czech Republic will try hard to revive the concept of the battle group, which goes slightly against the proposition in the paper, which if I'm not mistaken, said that the EU battle groups are impractical and tie up forces unnecessarily. I think this kind of goes slightly contra the Czech position. We realize that there are problems, especially that the way of generating forces in the EU is kind of more flexible. which is not good in terms of in times of crisis. It is more based on free will, on a goodwill, and that's why the national states really do not want to work with the battle groups. But here we're again at the national level. But there are ways how to increase that. I think that one of the steps, and it's the Czech position, is not my invention, would be to increase the level of common financing for the battle groups, especially in terms of training and of administration. This would not take that much money, but it would help to make at least a little step. But there are ways of increasing consistency in the quality of the battle groups by making the certification process more strict. And of course, the thing that is being talked about forever, that's the strengthening of the modular approach to the battle group, and perhaps one headquarters for both standby battle groups. These are small steps, but unless we're able to agree on these steps, I think it will be impossible to go any further in other areas. One thing that the Czech Republic will definitely keep an eye is the issue of defense industry, and that's a common theme, is the fair rules for everyone in the sphere of defense industry. Let's say to level the field, and of course, given the nature of the Czech defense industry, it is the support of the small and medium enterprises in defense industry. Also, there is a suggestion to use the financial instruments of the European Commission, namely the structural fund for research and development of the dual technologies. I think I will skip this, and I will finalize my presentation by what the Czech Republic has done in the last year in order to contribute to the European dimension of defense. First of all, there is this obligation, governmental obligation, to increase the defense budget to 1.4% by 2017. It doesn't work too well so far. We didn't really invest too much because of all the rules and all the fears. But there is this obligation. I've seen the fresh new program of the Visegrad presidency of the Czech Republic, and I can say that it's one of the boldest programs in terms of defense cooperation that I've ever seen under the Visegrad group. So the regionalization, the regional step, has been taken. There is, I think, increasing bilateral cooperation between the Czech Republic and Slovakia and Poland in terms of, well, you all know that, but what I'm trying to say is that the Czech Republic is now taking the regional approach, trying to increase the sharing. And of course, the Visegrad Battle Group, a lot has been said about it, but I think we all should keep our fingers that it works, and that those plans for sustainability and for more compatibility with the NATO response forces, that it will really work, because it would be a good litmus paper for how to do the business in the future. And last but not least, the Czech Republic was among the first countries to innovate its own security strategy in response to the happenings in eastern Ukraine. And it's I think that this shows that the Czech Republic takes defense and security very seriously. And now, if I made a couple of questions, and this is how I will finish to the paper. The paper, as I said, in my eyes, is very courageous. Now, is there any link to the positions of the two Security Council members as France and the UK? Was there any? Does it have attraction in these two countries? The same question goes for the European Commission. If there is some kind of a support by the European Commission for the proposals that are in the paper, especially I'm asking because it's the European Commission is usually left out from the decisions on the field of security and defense. Okay, and the last question, and then most specifically, if this proposition gets some kind of a support when it comes to the Defense Committee at the European Parliament, which I still don't know who poses that, and the Defense Ministers Council, if this, what kind of attraction does it have? And then the United Military Headquarters. As I said, this proposal was on the table some 3 years ago, but it was smashed down outrightly. So once again, thank you very much for having this opportunity, and it's a great pleasure and I'm looking forward to the discussion. Thank you.